Hi knitters, it's Mimi with Pastiche Knitwear, and in today's tutorial we are going to be doing the gauge swatch in the round for the lace chart from Caitlin Hunter's beautiful top called Tegna. I would urge you to check it out on Ravelry. Give it a go. It's a really fun top to make and to wear. So I have several students who are making it, and I wanted to do this swatch to show how to do the swatch in the round, and also there are some triple decreases in the pattern that I've done a little modification on, so I wanted to show you that too. So rather than having to cast on a bunch of stitches to do a gauge swatch that's completely in the round, we're going to work this in the round, but we're going to work it flat. Now typically when we're working flat, we get to the end of the round, we turn it around and we work back. In this case, we are always going to keep the presentation side facing us. We're never going to turn the work around. When we get to the end and our live end is down the left-hand side, all we're going to do is slip the stitches down to the other end of the needle. Now, I have added 6 stitches to the pattern repeat. The pattern lace repeat when we start is 20 stitches. So I've cast on 26 stitches, and I'm going to keep 3 stitches at each end as border stitches because these border stitches are going to be very sloppy because of the way we have to do this. And I don't want that to intrude on the lace pattern proper, especially when we go to measure it. We want to get a nice accurate measurement. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my needle into the work. Now I'm an English knitter and I find it's easier to holster the first stitch like this. For you continental knitters, you may not need to do this, but I do recommend it for English knitters. Now I'm going to bring the yarn because I need to strand it very loosely across the back. I'm going to bring the yarn up and around again, and then I'm just going to come in between these 2 needle tips and I'm going to knit my first 3 stitches here. Once I do that, I'm just going to drop this excess, and you're going to see I have a really long loopy strand across the back. That is because I do not want in any way for these stitches to be crowded or truncated. When I go to measure them, I need to have lots of slack on the back, so that's why I'm doing it. Now, so let's start the pattern. The pattern begins with 2 purls, and then we knit 1 through the back loop. So rather than coming in the front leg, we're going to come in the back leg. This will twist the stitch, gives it a pretty braid-like effect. And then we're going to purl 1 more stitch. Now we're coming to our first knit 3. It's a triple decrease. The pattern calls for 2 different mirror imaged decreases, and one of them is a knit 4 together. In my experience, I don't like the way my knit 4s together look. They always look like a big lump, and I don't like them. So I've done a modification here. I want to stop and say this is just an option. It's not like you have to do this. I just love the way it came out, and it actually comes out looking symmetrical, and it leans the proper way no matter which way it's leaning. And I'll show you an example of it in a minute. So instead of doing what was put on the pattern, I like to do a slip 3 together. So I'm going to come on the far left-hand side of the 3rd stitch, going to come through 3 stitches at the same time and slip them off, knitwise, knit 1 stitch, then get your needle tip right down the bottom here. It helps to do that, and pointy needles help too. These are Hiya sharps. I really like them. Now we're just going to drag those 3 stitches up and over the right-hand needle tip. Now I recommend when you're finished, pull down on the wad and then yank, tighten up your strand. It's going to look a whole lot prettier if you do that. Now the next thing on the pattern is we've got some sets of a yarn over, knit 1. We have 5 of those, and then we have 1 yarn over at the end. So the way I like to think about it is I do think about sets of 5, yarn over, knit 1, and then 1 extra yarn over at the end. So the way I count it as I'm working across is yarn over 1, yarn over 2, yarn over 3, yarn over 4, yarn over 5, that's my 5 sets, and then I always must end with an extra yarn over. That way we have mirror image yarn overs on either side. Now we're ready for that triple decrease again. Again, I want to say on the pattern, they are 2 different triple decreases. The way I have done it, I have used the exact same one every time a triple decrease is called for. So I'm going to slip 3 together, just come in here. It's a little, it's a little tight. knit 1, pass the 3 slip stitches over. Now remember, you've got a yarn over here, so don't catch that fellow. Just get the 3 way down the bottom. Try not to split. There we go. Drag those over the top, yank down, and then tug a little bit. Now we have a purl, a knit 1 through the back leg, and a purl. And then we are left with our 3 border stitches, which I just knit. Now, when we get to the end, remember, we are not turning the work ever on this swatch in the round. We just move the stitches to the other end. The yarn is then coming from the far left-hand stitch here, and we're going to strand it across the back very loosely. Now, for my continental knitters, what I recommend is just take a nice long length, tension your yarn, and then just bring it up. Oops. And just work those first 3 stitches before you drop it. 1. And these edge stitches will be loose and loopy. Don't worry about that. Okay. There we go. And then we can just drop it. And you can see. Now my continental one, I never get it quite long enough as I do on the English one. But you'll hit your stride. The important thing is that it is not the strands are not pulling across the back of the work. That's super important so that you get an accurate gauge when you're doing it. And so you would just then commence with your pattern. On this one, we're mirror imaging some of these, and then we don't have any yarn overs for a few more rows. So I just wanted to show you those triple decreases and how to do this, work this in the round. I really hope you give the Tegna a try. It's beautiful. Oh, I did want to show you the lace on it. Hang on just a sec. So this was mine that I made out last summer out of Lindy chain, and you can see it's such a pretty pattern. These are the triple decreases here, and they mirror image, and you can see that they actually they are mirror imaging. They are not all going in the same direction, even though we worked them the exact same way. So once again, it's just an option for you, and I hope that you enjoy and give it a try. As always, if the videos are helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. Have a great one.